Can everybody hear me and can everybody see me?
Yes.
Beautiful. Well, maybe not beautiful, but I don't know. It's Saturday morning, so acceptable, I think is probably the way to go. All right. So we're just getting to 9 o'clock, so we'll get started. Again, good morning. For those of you who I've not had the opportunity to interact with just yet, I'm Bill Lynch. I'm the Assistant Vice Chancellor for Learning, Research, and Project Management here at AGMU. And I'm here to walk you through Canvas, which is the learning management system we'll all be transitioning to over the coming months. Some of us are already using it. Online English instructors are using it. And for those of you who are teaching English classes, we'll be using that for our PT52 and moving forward. And for everyone else, it's sort of a rolling process. The goal is to have everyone in Canvas by August of this year. That's when we'll be making the full transition out of Blackboard. So as we move forward, we continue to bring folks on and onboard into Canvas. There'll be many more of these sessions and plenty of time to learn how to use the system and get really, really proficient with it. This training is sort of an open forum, so please feel free to put questions in the chat. I'll do my best. I'm only one man. I'll do my best to monitor. You can also feel free to interrupt and interject. Otherwise, I'd ask, let's keep ourselves on mute so we don't get any background noise. But again, this is informal. Feel free to unmute and ask questions if there's anything that I'm going over that you need a little bit of clarification on. This is your time. I want to be respectful of everyone's morning, Saturday morning. I know some of us have other things, other responsibilities. Anyone hopefully is not skipping a class this week to attend because we'll be recording this session, as you can see. So we'll be sending that out at the start of next week. So if you drop off or if anything happens, don't panic. We'll have the recording ready for everyone. All right. So let's get started here. And I will share this window. Perfect. So now, how many of us have used Canvas before? Another institution, maybe kids? Excellent. Okay, I see some hands up. Fantastic. I think probably the most maybe omnipresent situation now is remote learning with a lot of our kids, school-age children that have made the transition. Some school districts have moved to Canvas. So this is great. We'll get a little bit more knowledge for ourselves. There we go. Turn on the live transcription. So we might get some knowledge for ourselves and how we're going to be able to do things here at AGMU, but we'll also have some clue-ins that maybe we could be a bit more helpful for remote classes for our kids, for college-age children. I have a 4-year-old daughter, and let me tell you, the tech divide the gap is closing. So at any moment, if I can stay maybe just one step ahead of her in her technical knowledge, it feels like a good day as a parent. So I'm hoping that's the case here. Maybe we'll learn some tips and tricks that we can share with other folks. Okay. So the first thing I will say is Canvas is a great tool. However, it is a little particular when it comes to the browser that you're using. I find that Chrome, Google Chrome, and Mozilla Firefox work the best to avoid any issues with content not being displayed and uploading issues on the user end. It will work in Internet Explorer, Edge, or Safari, but those I tend to see certain drawbacks to video playback, to posting content. So I strongly recommend, if you're not already using Google Chrome or Mozilla Firefox, as we make that transition to Canvas, let's become more familiar with those browsers and start using them. Bring chat up here so I can keep that going. Excellent. Okay. To log in, I know not everyone has their credentials active at the moment. Please know that everyone is active in the Canvas system. We're pulling that information over from Banner and putting people into the system, and then activating as classes become and PTs become active for those who are teaching. And the reason for that is because we didn't want to cause too much confusion for either the faculty or the students as to where is my class, which learning management system is it in? Am I in Blackboard? Am I in Canvas? Where am I logging in? What are my credentials? As we open things up and we need to do these trainings and we get more comfortable with using the system, that access will be opened up sort of on a soft launch basis for everyone. So don't panic if you haven't been able to get into AGMU's Canvas just yet. That is coming, that access is coming. Our fantastic support team, Ricardo Hernandez and Isabel Colon, they are amazing. Dr. Jennifer Brock's team on the production development side, fantastic, talented people who are working very hard to make sure that everything flows over. And I certainly couldn't forget Lourdes Gutierrez on the system admin side for Banner, who is working to make sure that logins are active and everyone goes back and forth pretty seamlessly. So any login issues, please do let me know. Don't hesitate to reach out to me or to Ricardo Hernandez or to your campus academic director. The technical teams at each campus and the learning resource teams at each campus will very soon become much more proficient in this, and we'll be able to troubleshoot certain issues. We're getting them the correct access. And once that happens, then you'll be able to just walk into the IT support team at your campus or right into the Learning Resource Center and get the help you need as you would with Blackboard or anything else. Okay, so when we do go to log in, I've got Google Chrome open here, and I've gone to agmu.instructure.com. Currently, that is one pathway into Canvas. As we progress, a lot of things happening in that time span, and that's doing a lot of heavy lifting for a lot of the things that we'll have to do. We will have a portal connecting all of the services. We're rolling out Anthology as our new student and faculty administration tool. And that portal is very robust and will be a single sign-on connection. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible for everyone to just have one spot to log into rather than multiple places that you have to remember passwords for. The quickest way right now, like I said, is agmu.instructure.com. However, I'm sure some of you have noticed on the agmu.edu site, under quick links, you see Canvas, takes you to the same page. So either one is just fine. Our username is going to be our university email without the @agmu.edu. So my username, wlynch@agmu.edu. That's my email. I just take that piece off, and that's my username. My password, which I won't show you, is the same that I would use to log into my university email. We're trying to make that, again, as seamless as possible so that we don't have to remember a number of passwords or go to the password reset portal every time we want to log in. We'll log in. And the first thing we'll see is our Canvas dashboard. This is our heads-up display for everything happening in our little neck of the digital woods or the digital university, however you want to think of it. We're going to go over some features here, and then we're going to dive deep into where to find things, how to set certain things up. And I'm very eager to hear as we go through this, when you see something that you're questioning or something that you know you do in Blackboard, please feel free to jot it down, interrupt if you'd like, and let's look at that, because I have been working in Canvas for more than a decade, but about 15 years now, actually. And I've not had a significant amount of experience in Blackboard. So I'm curious to see where we need to update these trainings to make sure that you are aware of all the features and where to find things.
Bill, this
Yes.
Professor Cotto, actually I have a question, because
Of course.
I'm in between the on-site and online courses, so I'm teaching a couple of courses online. One of the things that they were given to us was the faculty training through Canvas, but one of the things that they wanted us to use was a sandbox, and that wasn't uploaded to my account under the unpublished courses. And I've been trying to see if I can add a sandbox to my account. And typically it's under where it says the recent feedback and view grades. It gives you that little bar to add the a sandbox, and it doesn't allow me. How can I add a sandbox to my account?
Very easily, actually. If you wouldn't mind, you can send me an email or send a private chat message here. If you happen to have your ID number, your S number, feel free to drop that in. I'm happy to put one together. They aren't hard to add. The sandbox courses, we haven't yet turned on the ability for autonomous sandbox courses, mostly because we wanted to onboard everyone and get them used to the system. I have no problem setting up personal sandbox courses for instructors. I think that's a very important feature. And yes, in the walk to class, there are portions that do benefit from having a sandbox course. So great question. Thank you for bringing that up. Drop me a line. I'm happy to put that together today as soon as we wrap up this training. Mostly because I don't want to show off the process here for something that we're not able to do autonomously, but we will have that feature to do that. Anyone who needs a sandbox course while they're going through this training, as soon as you've gotten access, that's exactly what I'm here for. I'm here for faculty support, at that level, to make sure that you have a Canvas course. Those of you who have already received a sandbox course, who may already be teaching, if we have any online English faculty or any strayed members of the administration on here, you'll notice that when I add that, I also add myself as the instructor to the sandbox course. Not because I monitor these, I don't look at them again. But in case someone gets stuck or something happens, I like that level of support that you could always reach out and I could hop in and have the right level of access to jump in and help out with any issues that you run into. So please, that's a great question. Let me know the ID number and I'm happy to set that up for you.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Very welcome. That is excellent. Thank you, Victoria. That is a perfect clarification of what a sandbox course is. We will go into exactly what that is. I'll show off some of the space. It is a safe space that you are able to test out certain things. You're able to use it however you see fit. If you want to test new course elements in there, if you would like to use it as file storage, if you'd like to use it to test anything out, to pretty much do anything in a consequence-free zone. That's what a sandbox course really is. As you can see here, I've got on the dashboard my sandbox for guides. I use that to put together walkthroughs, guides, anything that would come from the main campus administration office. I go through here and it's nice because I can sort of use this little universe to create and not worry about affecting any other areas of Canvas. So if I delete something or I delete a file, I delete anything like that, it's happening inside of the sealed environment. So I'm not affecting Canvas as a total. They are a lot of fun. We will go into those. Let's take a look here first at the dashboard in your login view. So going left to right here, the left side, we start with the global navigation ribbon. So this is navigation that carries from course to course to course. It's always going to be here on the left-hand side. You'll have your account, which we'll go over in just a moment, and some options there. Your dashboard, obviously, that's always sort of, think of this, and I guess my facial features, belie my age, but for those of us who remember when we had a home button on a browser for the internet, think of the dashboard as your home button in Canvas. Your courses menu, which right now will only have the courses that you've been assigned to, likely as a student, until you start getting courses assigned as an instructor in Canvas. But your courses menu is going to be very beneficial moving forward as we complete courses. They don't go away. They just become past enrollments. So I've run into this a number of times when teaching online courses is, I remember to upload a file, I shared this great announcement and it was thought provoking. Students were, of course, it's a bit, two likes on an announcement's a great time. But put out an announcement, and the next time I go to teach that course, I can't find that file on my computer. Oh gosh, it's gone. I can't do exactly what I wanted to do last time. With the courses menu, I'm able to go into my past enrollments.
Good morning. I do have a
Good morning.
question before you continue. Good morning to everyone. My concern is, and I don't know if you have already talked about it, it's like our courses from Blackboard are going to roll over or not, or the content and all that good stuff that we have created. And also, if you can repeat again, how is it that we log in? Because you were saying that we have access now, isn't it? And I'm so it's
yes
two questions,
no.
actually.
Sure, that's great. Two questions. Great two questions. So the first question is, the production design team is moving course content over from Blackboard into Canvas. Depending on which module, which shell they're using to move things over, there will be the period where you'll be able to move things from Blackboard into Canvas, files or certain things that you've created, in the event that they don't automatically show up. The way that Canvas functions, I guess, in a general sense, is there's a master course shell, so that every iteration of the course sort of starts at this specific baseline. And then as we add those elements in, certain assignments, certain things as we move down the road, the things that instructors put in, those announcements, those files, all of that, there's the place to store them in your user account, and there's the place to store them in the course. If they're not already in the course, that's sort of what I was getting at with the Sandbox course is a great storage spot. And we'll go over the user file storage so that you can make sure those elements don't go away and aren't lost between Blackboard and Canvas. So there will be a migration period where you're able to have sort of access to both and move things over. As far as the access now, everyone is created in the system, but user accounts are being activated as sort of as needed and sort of as this process rolls out. So there are people who have access now, and we're rolling that out sort of in a phased approach so that we didn't have sort of an initial rush of people getting in, accessing, having any access issues. So everyone is in the system because we're all in Banner, and Banner sends the information to Canvas the same way it sends the information to Blackboard. But we're activating accounts, excuse me, as we go sort of week by week, day by day. And so we're doing that to make sure that we're not bringing in big chunks of information and anyone falling through the cracks. We're sort of doing it in smaller chunks so that we can really get specific and manage and make sure that everyone, these people have logins and we're good. These people have logins. And so we can kind of handle things on a smaller scale. So if you aren't able to log in via the agmu.instructure.com with your university username, which is your email address minus the @UAGM portion and the password you would use to log into your email. If you're not able to log in yet, don't panic. Again, we'll be moving through that. My team and the production development team are working with academic directors and their faculty lists to make sure that everyone is in the courses, is in the environment, and assigned to the courses that they're programmed to. That's the other thing. We don't want to have any issues with having someone put into a course that you're not teaching because there was, maybe an issue in the transition from the banner information to Canvas. So it's a fun process. A lot of plates to spin, but we're making progress every day. So if you don't have access or able to log in right now, in the coming weeks, you will. This training is recorded. We'll be putting these out and doing more sessions as well. So don't feel like this is the only time that you have to view something. This is more of an overview and more of just kind of a walkthrough. We'll be doing more sessions as we move towards the ultimate final push from Blackboard into Canvas in August. So it's one of those things we don't always have is time on our side. Okay, so we've got our dashboard, our courses menu. And like I said, courses at first is going to just reflect what's on your dashboard. It doesn't seem to want to work at the moment for me, which is great. It's likely because I toggled a few courses off to show a cleaner dashboard. Mine's a little bit more hectic. Okay. But once we have that, you'll see not only the courses that you're assigned to as a student, which in this case would be the walk to class or the faculty resource center, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but you would also see any courses that you're assigned to as an instructor. You have the ability to toggle these on and off to customize what you see on your dashboard for the course tiles, which are your course shells. Understanding that we don't lose access to the faculty walk to class or the faculty resource center. I want people to keep that access because we're all professionals. We're all folks who have full-time jobs in addition to our teaching duties, or teaching is our full-time job. We have responsibilities, we have families, we have other obligations, and it can be challenging to keep everything in your head at all times. And I don't want anyone to feel like they don't have a reference spot for training to remember how to do things. Sometimes, things don't stick until you've done them a number of times. And I want people to feel confident they can refer back to the trainings. That's why we're not losing access to the faculty walk to class. And the faculty resource center is essentially going to be our virtual teachers lounge. But I don't want to talk too much about that just yet. We'll get into that in just a moment. Okay. Charlie, that is a wonderful question. Can you toggle between the platforms? There will be a period of time where, yes, you will be toggling between platforms. What we are trying to minimize is the situation where you're teaching a course in Blackboard, but you're also teaching a course in Canvas. We don't want to have that happen for faculty, and we don't want to have that happen for students, because that can add another level of stress of not feeling like you know exactly where your course is being held. There will be a period of time though where you can go back and forth between both. It may not be significant. We're trying to make it that you have a lot more time where you're teaching in Blackboard and Canvas is something you're getting familiar with before you're teaching in Canvas. We're trying to deliver on that. So there will be a period of time. I can't speak to everyone to see how long it will be. Okay. So moving on the global navigation pane here, we have our calendar. Pretty self-explanatory what a calendar is, but I want to show off some features. The calendar, once you've been assigned to a course, has automatic events that load onto it. As you can see, there are a number of courses here. I've got a bunch of sandbox courses that obviously I don't want to show up on the calendar here, but I've got other courses that have been developed that are color coded. And so in the event that there were assignments due in these classes, either as a student for me to submit or as a faculty member for me to grade, they would show up here and everything would be color coded to separate out those classes. So for those of you who maybe teach multiple classes in a PT, it's very easy to keep things organized and unified here so that you don't have to feel like you're not sure which event is corresponding to which course. It's the same thing for students. And this calendar is, essentially your own personal calendar as well. You can put other events on there. One of the areas that I usually, encourage instructors to do is to put your office hours on here if there's a set time that you're available. So if you're an on-ground instructor and you have office hours, an hour before your class starts or an hour after your class starts, for example, feel free to put that on here. Students would be able to see that as they're enrolled in your class and know when they can come to you for help either before or after, or set up an appointment with you to discuss anything in class. The inbox, which the biggest drawback to Canvas is that this is not your university email. Please understand this is not for your UAGM email, your at UAGM email, or as we move into our new domain at agmu.edu email. This is not that. This is a messaging feature inside of Canvas. It makes it a little bit easier to message students, for students to message instructors, and for users to message each other. The positive thing about this is that, yes, when you message someone in here or you receive a message in here, you get an email notification, but it is not your university inbox. That's certainly a drawback for Canvas. I do wish that this was tied to a user's university email. It would keep everything nice and clean, but unfortunately, I can understand that the Canvas doesn't want to necessarily go that route. So this is just a messaging feature inside of Canvas. We'll set up, and we'll show in just a moment, how we can set up the contact preference to get in, to designate where Canvas sends these notifications when you get a message. Beyond that, you've got your help section here. And the help section is 24/7 Canvas support for Canvas related issues. They won't solve login issues. That's handled by the AGMU support team. But they will help if you're trying to upload an assignment and it's just not working, if something's broken, if there's something in your class that's not necessarily functioning, the Canvas team can help with that. Our production development team is fantastic, and instructional designers will be able to help with that, as well as we kind of move down the line, especially with Ricardo Hernandez. As I've mentioned, he's kind of our go-to Canvas administrator, and the same is true for Eddie Pedraza, who most of you will know in his Blackboard support role. Those teams can help with issues relating specifically to AGMU content or AGMU courses. But if there's something happening in Canvas, you're clicking the upload or embed video function and it's just not happening, something's not working and you've reached the end of your rope, that's where we would click the Canvas help link. Hop back to the dashboard here. Moving right along, looking at the dashboard, these tiles, as I mentioned, are your course tiles. So if you're enrolled as a student or enrolled as an instructor, you'll see these courses for your published courses. Your course tiles will be here on your dashboard on the main portion of your screen. Let me take a look at the chat. Perfect. Yes, the password to log in would be your Active Directory password, whatever you use to log into your university email. As I mentioned, if that's not working at the moment, don't panic. That just means that you're yet to be phased into Canvas. We're working on that. It's another iterative process where we're pulling folks in smaller chunks. So again, don't panic. We'll have that. This is more a kickoff to show off the features of Canvas, and we'll get to getting everyone onboarded and run more of these sessions so that we have, sort of even those next level questions when we come to things.
Bill, I got a question. This is Amilcar.
Go right ahead.
Yes, good morning. In case we have two different email accounts, like for example, It's that we're an associate and we also teach. Which one should be using? The one as a teacher, as a professor, or everything's going to be synchronized under only one account?
That is an excellent question, Amilcar. And you and I are in the same boat in that instance. For us, it's a little bit more confusing because we have our staff account and our faculty account. When we're teaching courses, we would have to log in under the faculty account. So for anyone who has a dual role that teaches classes, but also holds a staff or administration role at the college, you will have, as you likely already do, a staff email and a faculty email. The staff emails are typically first initial, last name, and then the faculty emails are typically last name, first initial, and then a number. So you'll be logging in and completing certain functions at our level with things, initiatives that we might be doing. It's a little different because we have internal projects for faculty members. They'll have really just the one login, which is their faculty email to get in, and that will allow access to anything that we're going to look at today. So some of us have a trickier task of remembering, which access we're logging in under if we have sort of that dual role. But for those of us who are members of the faculty only, it's a lot easier just to remember the one login.
Thank you, Bill.
Very welcome. It's a great question, Amilcar. Okay. So again, these are the class tiles that we can see on the right-hand side as sort of the instructor view is what we're looking at right now. These are submissions that need to be graded. So like I said, I'm the quote unquote instructor for the walk to class, even though there aren't really graded assignments in there. But as you can see, I set that up so that when looking at these sessions, we can see what a to-do list would look like. And this pulls right from these courses. These aren't things that I added myself. These pull right from the due dates in the course. As you can see, there's a number of submissions for this assignment in this course that need to be graded. If they were set up with a due date, you would see that. So if you had, oh geez, did I forget to, grade, the week 2 assignment for my COM 140 class? Well, you'd be able to come in here and it would be sort of yelling at you, hey, you've got, however many submissions for the week 2 assignment in COM 140, and they were due on such and such a date. So that does pull that data right from your classes and put that right here on your dashboard. Coming up is a heads up that again corresponds to your course. So if you have other due dates, other assignments, if you set up conferences in Big Blue Button, which we'll talk about, that's the version in Canvas. Big Blue Button is essentially like Blackboard Collaborate. So that's where you would set meetings. If you had those coming up, that would show under here. And again, when you set those up, they would show up on the calendar. And then recent feedback, either feedback that you've given to a student or responses on feedback that you've gotten from students will show here. That obviously for students, I always want to put their mind at ease that that only they can see this when they log in. For instructors, the same thing. Students are able to see that on the gradebook when we make we put feedback on assignments, but here we get to see anything that we've left or anything that we've received in a response to that feedback so that we're aware of everything going on in our little corner of the universe. Okay, let's take a look here. Excellent. Great question about the sandbox, and I see there's a question about the grade book. Perfect. Okay, we'll go through both of those. The grade book, those processes are going to change just a bit in a positive way, where we won't have to do so much manual work. There'll be a lot more of a transfer between the grade book and our student information system. So that's a positive. The sandbox courses, those are assigned individually, ad hoc, as requested. We'll get through that. And available plagiarism software, that is, Professor Santiago, that is an excellent question. And I'm very happy to mention that we will have universal access to Turnitin. Every assignment as it's submitted in Canvas will be checked by Turnitin. So students, when they submit something, it'll be checked and it will come with a similarity score that we can see as instructors to very quickly know, okay, low percentage of similarity, this is a student's original work. High percentage of similarity, well, we might have to take another look at that. On the positive side too, for both faculty and for students, there will be an autonomous area where you can run something through Turnitin proactively before submitting it, or just as a double check if you'd like to check your own work in there before sending something off. Those areas will be coming online very soon, and that's another excellent tool to make sure that students aren't submitting assignments unknowingly, completely plagiarized. That is something that I used in my graduate work, and I thought it was just incredibly beneficial. There's always that one citation that we miss that that will take a 10 or 2% paper to a 20% paper for similarity, and that's a scary thing to see when you submit that and then realize that it's a final submission to a class. So we're going to be showing students proactively how to run things through Turnitin before they submit them in the class, so that those similarity scores on our end as instructors will come down, the percentages will come down, so we can feel more confident that we don't have to, obviously we don't want to create an environment where we're, second guessing our students, but we want to trust but verify that they're doing their own work. So Turnitin, it's all one word, and it is a great tool that will be coming online in the coming weeks. All right, so let's hop into the faculty walk to class, which is as you get your Canvas access, this is the first course that you are assigned to. This is still a manual process, so I'm taking instructor lists as we upload them and putting everyone into the walk to class. So as you get into Canvas, you'll see this waiting for you on your dashboard, or if you've already logged in and there's a little bit of lag time, you will receive an email invitation that says, hey, you've been invited to participate in the faculty walk to class. Once you accept that, you'll be able to see this and access this. Take a brief second here. Very dry air we have here in the Northeast today. So I apologize if I'm a little raspier than maybe I would normally be. What we're seeing here is the homepage for the Walk to Class course. I want to point a few things out very quickly. We still have the global navigation ribbon on the side here, so we still have the ability to go back to dashboard, see our courses, our calendar, our inbox, all of that. Here next to that is the in-course navigation menu. Now, this will change from course to course. The ribbon on the side for global navigation will not change. That's always going to be the same points. This will change from course to course. And the reason that changes from course to course is, one, there will be certain features that courses will have enabled that you'll enable or our production development team will enable, depending on the course content. As we look towards connecting with McGraw-Hill Connect, that's another area that will show up here in the in-course navigation if that's part of your course. Obviously, you'll know that as well. And then there are certain areas, as you can see, Google Drive, Office 365, those will play bigger roles as we move forward. And I'll take a look at those in just a moment, but they may not appear in every course. So if the in-course navigation menu is a little different from course to course, there's no reason to panic. That there's a reason for that. It just means that there are certain apps enabled that are being used in the class, maybe not used in the class, maybe you've not sort of confirmed or checked off, they will be used. And so this is sort of where we build in each course. There are some features too. As you can see, this eyeball with the slash through it says not visible to students. This one is disabled. There's really no rubrics in this course, but I, as the instructor for this course, disabled rubrics because I didn't want anyone to be confused and to click into there and find no content and be upset about not, knowing what we're looking for here. So I've turned that off autonomously. Announcements, however, as you can see, it says no content not visible to students because I've not made any announcements in here. So if there's no content, then students can't see anything here. So the eyeball with the slash through it, not always a bad thing. Sometimes it just means there's no content. Other times it means things are on and off. For your own list of items for the in-class navigation, there is a way to do that through settings, and I'll show you that in just a moment. We'll get to that. I do want to say access the software. It would be agmu.instructure.com. I'm at the start of the webinar, and login information we'll go through sort of towards the end again. Okay, so we know we can see our course. That's fantastic. There are a number of views. As an instructor, I have the ability to see the instructor view, which is what we're looking at here. And I've got all those options to import content, to get the course set checklist, make an announcement, all of that. But what do students see? Well, we have the student view. So we're able to see what it would look like. And this is what it would look like for you as a student to log into this course. You'd see the home menu module, see how this in-course navigation menu changed dramatically. There are far less options here based on what we need to see in this course as a student, what we've sort of designated as visible as soon as you log in. The center of the homepage really didn't change. See, this is still the same homepage. I'm still seeing the content that I created and set up the same way that you would see it displayed as a student. But now you can see students don't have the ability to make an announcement or to import content. Be nice if they did, I suppose, sometimes, but maybe those aren't features that we want to extend to everybody. And then on the side here, there are specific areas that I wanted to target. Some of them have been enabled, turned on and off. And as I leave student view, we'll see. Some like rubrics are disabled. And again, some like announcements just have no content at the moment, and that's why they don't show up. If I were to make an announcement, walk to class, that would show up in student view because there would be content. That's our course homepage, sort of in a nutshell.
Bill, 1 second. David Landis from South Florida.
David, hello.
Hello. On the previous screen, in the faculty walk to class, at the top right, it said the student course stream. What does stream mean?
The student course stream?
Yeah, what is the stream?
Yep, the view course stream. Go right through that. The course stream is just recent activity. That's all that is. So as a student, you can see with the recent activity, if you are confused about where, what's happening in the course, if an instructor's made an announcement and that doesn't immediately come up on your dashboard, which it would, or it should presumably, you'd be able to go into the view course stream and see. And as the course progresses, as assignments are, uploaded, as announcements are made, this would grow. So let's say as an instructor, you come in and you realize, oh no, this is the wrong assignment. This should be, 3-page, this should be 3 pages, not 2 pages. This should be focusing on this. That happens if we've forgotten to update something, or we find something might be off. If we make a change and say, okay, I've changed the number of pages required, or I've changed the assignment page for whichever assignment, that would show up in the recent activity for the course. So the student would be able to see, oh, there's been a change. That also would come up if you made an announcement about it in the announcements section. But as you can see, I created a first party portfolio, that kind of thing. As those things are created, that was in a previous training session. As things are created, either added, announcements are made, any changes happen, that's what the stream is. It's just an, sort of a RSS feed of updates to the course. So we'll pop back out of student view there. Okay, we'll hop back to now we're on the course stream. So now we have a number of options on how we can navigate. Inside of the course, we can use the course navigation menu here. So I'm just going to go ahead and go back to the home page. But I could also go to what is my favorite section, or my favorite view really, is the modules. Now I know this is going to be a little bit confusing because terminology does change, but modules previously in Blackboard meant the course. The home will not be the same. Sorry, Professor Perez, the home will not be the same for every single course. There is sort of a template homepage for every course, but as we change things, as we as instructors, I should say, change things, if we modify things, then the home pages may change. But those editing rights are worked on with the subject matter experts and the instructional design team as we move forward with these classes. So sometimes they will be the same. Other times they will be whatever curated content has been designated to be placed there. Perfect. So the modules section, that, in my opinion, is the superhighway of course access. The reason I say that, as I collapse these here, you can see there are a number of modules in this training course, the faculty walk to class. We've got our welcome module, and then our 6 modules going over different areas of focus for Canvas training. This is somewhat of an example of how things are going to look in your courses. So if you teach a 5-week course, there will be 5 weeks, 5 modules, so 1 module for each week. And they give an overview of the content for each week. So again, modules in this case mean sections of a course, not an entire course. A course shell is a course in Canvas, and a module is, essentially the week's lesson plan, let's say. As you can see, our first module is about introducing yourself. It's got a learning plan, and it goes over the various sections, the Canvas dashboard, which we went over, the profile and settings, which we'll get to in just a moment, our communication notifications, which we'll get to just after that. Essentially going to go through most of this first module. How to customize your profile, that is our quote unquote assignment. And as you can see, they had to be given some point value, but I'm not grading these. They're just exercises to perform as we get comfortable and get more acclimated to the learning management system. So it gives us our full overview of what module 1 is about. In this course, as a small incentive, it's just a way to gamify it a little bit, is once you've completed all sections of this module, you're able to claim a badge. And that badge is your recognition that you've completed module 1. You've introduced yourself in the virtual space, the Canvas space. Each module has those, and I will give full credit to Rafael Del Rio, excellent professor and member of the Metro Orlando Learning Resource Team, who joked that these would be the first set of AGMU NFTs. So quite the timely joke. Yes, I know that's quite the nerdy subject. And quite frankly, if anyone asks you to pay for this badge, please report that. They aren't that flashy. They were just created as a fun way to claim something, so that you felt like you were getting something out of the trainings, out of the modules, rather than just sort of having things happen in a vacuum. And yes, Raphael, I absolutely did need to give you credit for that. It was a good joke. It's I've repeated it a number of times, and credit where credit is due, my friend. So as we go through each module, as you can see, they're laid out the way they would be in your course, whether there be readings, lectures, assignments, discussions, all of those happen right here in the overview. That's why personally I like this view. That does not mean that it's the only way to view the course. We'll look at that in just a moment. But in my opinion, I like to look at the full view. I like to understand what I'm doing for the week so that I can plan out, so that I can understand, you know, what's coming up. And in this course, I've unlocked all modules as soon as you get in. So you're able to see absolutely everything. It's not typically the approach that we would lock modules so where students couldn't see things. Likely what will be more of the case is that content will be locked, because we would hate to see a student jump in, look at week 3 and go, oh, I know how to create a lesson, and try to do the assignment without going through weeks 1 and 2. You know, there's going to be content there that they have to understand before they can get to that, even if they feel they know about the subject. So while they might not be able to do the work in week 3, we want them to be able to see what's coming up. You know, we're all, again, our student body, the same as we are all, you know, professionals. We're all busy folks, and it's great to be able to plan out ahead of time to know, okay, you know I have something coming up in week 3, you know, doctor's appointments, or you know, my daughter has a school play, things like that. I want to be able to plan my time in week 3 and understand, you know, what I have to do so that I can structure my life. And we wanted students and faculty to be able to see that, just so we all know what's coming up down the road. Okay. So going through the introducing ourselves module, I want to go back and we're going to look at where we can find these aspects, our profile, our settings, our notifications. And those can be found at any time in the global navigation ribbon under our account. So as you can see, when you click on account, you've got a number of options here. Your notifications, your profile, files, which is user files, our settings. We've turned on ePortfolios, but we're not yet making full use of that. That will become something that we can use and leverage as we move forward and everyone gets comfortable in Canvas, and all faculty and students are in Canvas. I really want to see ePortfolios become an option for everyone, both students and faculty members. And then any QR for mobile login, that's another area where we have the Canvas app, which functions on iOS for your Apple devices or Android for any other devices. And it's a great view of what classes you're assigned to, great way to get messages, great way to check feedback. For students, it's a great way to check grades. I would hesitate to say that it's not robust enough to be the only access point for you or for a student. We're making that very clear to students as well. But it's very nice to have sort of in the palm of your hand an ability to log in and see the same environment, that you can check things on the go. So if you're concerned, geez, I'm having kind of a busy day, and then do I have any assignments to grade when I get home, when I'm focusing on this, on my faculty work, you'd be able to see that at a quick glance on the iOS app, rather than having to log into a browser and go through and see it that way. The same thing with messages. If you've got a message on the go, you know, Canvas, obviously the app has notifications. We're not asking anyone to turn those on because, well, teaching is part of our lives 24/7. It doesn't necessarily need to be something that we're attached to 24/7. So that's completely understandable that we might not have the notifications turned on the application. but just the ability that we can see them when we pull those up, and it's the same login. It saves your login just like any other app, enables Face ID just like any other app. That's kind of nice. Nice to see that. It's a good feature, but again, not the only waypoint to get into to Canvas. Let's be clear on that. Okay, so going right through. I know notifications is first, but I do like to start with profile. There's a reason, there's a method to that madness. My profile is very bare right now. I didn't want to give anyone an idea of the wrong way to go with their profile, as if there were a wrong way to go with your profile. But start thinking that this is, for those of us who teach in front of a class, students see us. They get to come to a classroom, sit down, and see us, or on camera, if it's a hybrid, they get to see us there. We also need to be aware of the virtual environment. So what's our impression virtually? Same as it would be on any social media, on anything else. We want to make sure that we're putting in a profile picture, that when people are messaging back and forth with us or interacting with us, they're getting that connection and not just seeing a blank screen or a little grayed out icon. I've chosen a profile picture that focuses more on my wife and my daughter. That's it's my own reasons. They're absolutely wonderful, so I'd rather put them in the foreground than myself. But I guess you could get the sense that it's just guy with glasses in the background here. For the contact information, that's on the settings page, which we'll get to in a minute. We can add a biography. I'm deficient definitely in adding my biography, but I can do that at any time by editing and just putting in my biography. And the same thing with links. Now, these are links to approved sites. So if you have your own business site, if you've gotten published and you'd like to share that link, here you've published work, a faculty page for AGMU, all of that can be added here under links. These are things that anyone could see if they click on your profile. So just word of caution, we don't yet have university guidelines on what can be shared. But again, those are sort of the things that will be coming. But for right now, anything that you would feel comfortable sharing on LinkedIn. If you want to share your LinkedIn link here, that is absolutely fine. Anything professional obviously can be shared here. Is a former life in student advising, I've always said keep it classy. Let's just maybe keep the environment classy, and I think that'll just be fine. So our settings is where we denote our contact methods. Your university email will always be your default contact method. That's what you log in as. That's your primary contact method. Here on your settings page, you have the ability to add another email address if you so choose. If there is one that you are comfortable sharing with your peers and your students. If you are not comfortable sharing that email address, by all means, we are not asking you to add another contact method. That is entirely personal preference. You will get notifications of messages, of anything that happens in your courses to your university email, which we are all responsible for checking. So please don't feel that you are being pressured or required to add another email address. This is merely if there is another way of contact that you are comfortable sharing, by all means, we wanted to give you the space to do that. Other contacts, essentially the only ones that Canvas links to at the moment are the text SMS, which again, we're not asking anyone to put in your cell phone number here to receive text messages. You have the app for that reason, or Slack, which obviously AGMU does not use. And I would strongly advise against putting any Slack content or contact in there. Slack is a great communication tool between teams, and I know a lot of us might be using it in our professional lives. But right now, let's keep everything inside of Canvas and bring on other areas, integrate Teams more, integrate perhaps some Google services. Those will come online as contact methods. But for right now, there's absolutely no reason to stray from just your university email as your contact method. See, we've got a raised hand. Go right ahead.
Hey, Bill, this is Alberto. I tried to use that SMS text to get notifications, but it wouldn't send a text message to me. I don't know. I was using Google Voice, so I'm not sure if that's the reason why.
That could be part of the reason. I've found it to be a little buggy. I think it's a feature that Canvas has had, and like I said, I've been working in this, for 15 years now, and it's been the same. And when when we all had Motorola Razors and Nokia phones that were fine with 9-word SMS texting, I saw more usage out of it. Now I think it's still there because if they shut it off, there are because Canvas is a global entity, there are sections of their population that use it in different countries or use it in sort of different ways. But stateside, for the most part, any notifications now would be coming from the app. So I would say to log into the app, set up the app. You've got the QR login right there, and you could set up your notifications that way.
All right, good to go.
Yeah,
I figured
exactly.
that. I was just making sure maybe it just was something on my end, but yeah, that's what I'm doing anyways. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. The text message thing, like I said, there are some that that I'm sure maybe even in the group here today that still have that are still trying to cling to those 3G phones or even older maybe that would benefit from that SMS texting. But I would say over the coming years as the mobile devices continue to take up market share, then I would think that SMS would sort of be retired. I just know they can't do it right now. But that's a great question, Albert Morales. I'm sorry, it's been a long day. So on our settings page here, our registered user services are anything that we've connected to Canvas. So as you can see, I've set up the Canvas iOS app. So it knows that I've logged in there. It knows that it can authenticate my login and that it is a registered service so that I am able to use my account in either spot. Same thing, I've connected my Office 365. For students and for some of us who are teaching on ground, we will have to use BioSig, so we'll have to connect that. Google Drive, I want to see more integration with certain Google features and certain Office features. We'll get to what's integrated right out of the box and what's coming down sort of the pike as we look forward. But Google Drive is something else that we can link to as well. And those would show up, again, in certain courses. You're going to see McGraw-Hill show up. You're going to see certain things. I'm hoping very hard and working very hard to get Zoom integrated into Canvas so that we could use Zoom and leverage Zoom for our course meetings, for office hours, and that would be another registered service once that's turned on. But for right now, you don't have to do that here on, excuse me, on your settings page. That happens automatically. I just wanted to point out what those were. So the settings page, it's where we add our contact methods. That's the big takeaway here. And the reason for that is our notifications. All right, so notifications. So I'm not going to go through every single one of these. As you can see, there are a lot of notifications, so it would get lengthy. And even though we have just under an hour left in this presentation, that would be very boring for me to go through every single one of them. But as an overview for the notifications, as we saw on the settings page, my only method of contact that I've logged into Canvas in settings right now is the university email. So that's the only pathway that Canvas has to notify me of things that happen and to send notifications to. If I had put in my personal email, it would show up right here. If the SMS texting function were functioning and I had put mine in, that would show up here too, and I could toggle on and off what notifications I get. As an overview, each notification item here has essentially 4 options: to be notified immediately, to get a daily summary, a weekly summary, or turn notifications off. Notifications off, I only set this for really a few things. New topics, notifications are off because students aren't able to create new discussion topics in classes and conversations created by me. Those are sort of redundant. If I create a new topic or a conversation, I don't need to be alerted to that. I know I created it. Students need to be alerted to that. But I do want to get notified immediately if someone adds me to a conversation or if someone sends me a conversation. If someone gives me a new mention or a reply, I want to see that. Certain things, I will only need a daily summary of. We've, again, not established official notification guidelines here for the university because we want to give people some autonomy here. We don't want anyone to be inundated with communication and feel like we're always on. But we will have to roll those out, notification recommendations or requirements, in the event that students are reporting missed messages or staff is reporting missed messages or missed gradings, things like that. So I have the utmost faith in everyone on this call and everyone in the university network. I know I've not been here for a very long time, but I've been incredibly impressed by the commitment and the pride that everyone takes in being a member of this faculty and being a member of this university. So I would be very confident in saying that we will likely not, maybe not ever get to a spot where we have to require notification settings to be set a certain way, because everyone takes this job very seriously. Everyone takes educating our students very seriously. And so we don't want to miss that. It's just not a good feeling for us to feel like we're behind the 8 ball with certain things or missing things. It's not good with students either, because they want to feel like they have that access to their instructor and that support. So as you go through, if you have any questions about these notifications, if you're concerned about them, please, by all means, I'm happy to have a conversation, happy to talk about that, happy to go through them or make any recommendations or help out however I can. My settings don't have to be your settings. When you get in, please feel free to set yours up, accordingly, so that you feel like you are aware of everything, but not constantly getting communication. That would be just overwhelming, really. So that's our notifications. Okay, so I'm here on the notifications page. I have a couple of options to navigate. I can go to any of the other areas of our account. I can go back to my profile. I can go back to anywhere else that I've been. I can use the global navigation ribbon to go to my dashboard, to go to my courses, to go wherever. That's the fun thing about Canvas. It can be also the maddening thing about Canvas is that there are a number of pathways to get to certain things. There's no one specific click here, then click here, then click here. You can sort of define your own way around the system. And that's fun, but it can also be maddening to feel like maybe you're clicking in the wrong spot. But as long as you're getting to the content, you're clicking in the right spot, whichever way you get to it. It's the same thing with that login. If you go to agmu.instructure.com, fantastic. If you go to the AGMU site and then go through quick links, that's fine too. It's the same pathway, just a different approach. Before we get off of the account menu here, I do want to mention files. So files is our file storage. This is our personal file storage. Our courses will show up here. Anything that we've been assigned to as an instructor or a student, our courses will show up here. But my files specifically would be user files. And that's a distinction that's going to be important as we look at putting content in courses, making announcements, things like that, which we'll do in just a little bit here. We have the option between user files and course files. And there's a distinction there. User files are things that we've put into our account. So I gave the example earlier of something as an instructor that I put into every one of my classes, be it a headshot, be it a certain reading, something that I put into every one of the classes that I teach. I usually upload that to my files because I want to be able to pull that from my profile into any class. And I don't want to have to keep going back into classes to find it if I can't find it on my computer. So the user files, that's our own personal file storage. Course files stay inside of each course. So when a course concludes, the files are in that course. We can still access them, but they stay there in that course. So think of it as user files are universal. You can put them in any course. You can use them cross-platform. Course files stay inside that course shell. That will make a lot more sense in just a moment as we go through things. Yes, it's 500 megabytes right now. Those will increase. That is sort of the start out point. As we increase, as we bring folks into this, we will be looking to increase the file storage so that people are able to store bigger, heavy files. User files, I mean, we're talking documents, they don't take up a lot of space. 500 megabytes of PowerPoint presentations or Word document handouts. That's, as we know, that would store a lot of things, maybe JPEGs, things like that. But as we're talking video files and things like that, those, we can increase personal storage. The Sandbox courses are great for that as well, increasing storage there so that you can house things in your Sandbox course, which is just another spot for you to store things. So a lot of places to put things, in those moments where you'd rather keep things in the LMS to make sure that, if you can't find them, what happens if your computer crashes? What happens if you leave that flash drive at home? This is a good backup. So those file storage limits, will be upped. We'll be looking to increase. This is just all in that sort of initial rollout that we're starting off from scratch to see what usage is before we start increasing things and sort of pushing the parameters of what we can do. So personal files, right now I want to jump back to my dashboard. So I'll click that on the ribbon. And if I actually clicked it, it would bring us back to the dashboard. Okay, so pause here for a moment before we go into our Sandbox courses, before we go into sort of course functions. Now, Sandbox courses, as I mentioned, are absolutely something that everyone can have access to. For those of us who want to use that, please feel free to send me the request when you get into Canvas. Once you have Canvas access, the only thing that I would need is your ID number, that S number, and your name. That's it. So I set those up and then again, give access to you as the instructor. I add myself as the instructor for now until we build out a little bit bigger structure for support. But for right now, I'm happy to assist and help out with certain requests and things that come in case anyone gets stuck. So to look at our Sandbox course, this is mine, Bill's space. Albert, go right ahead.
And I know you have answered this question via email, but I want to see if maybe you've changed your mind or something else changed. We're only limited to one Sandbox, correct?
One Sandbox, right, for now, for the moment. And that's because we can, as I said, we can expand the storage size in the Sandbox. And the Sandbox is sort of, an ever expanding storage space and ever expanding space in here to set up those modules. We got those modules in the course menu there to set up, as many modules really as you want or need to. So you could set up multiple courses of modules in here. The reason for that is a lot of organization keeping the space, the training space that we put these in clean, with everyone getting that one sandbox. As we progress, if there's that need to add more, if there's that need for additional, if it's really hitting the limits of what the expanded file storage can handle, then I'm not seeing an issue with that. But for right now, we're sort of doing the first round. Everyone gets their first sandbox, because we still, again, have the access to past courses. So again, that's another level of access there, where we're able to copy content over and copy content forward. So nothing really goes away in Canvas. Even if a course concludes, we still have access to it in our past courses. So adding additional sandboxes as we complete courses just to move content over seems duplicative.
Good to go.
No final decisions really ever. Just because we're doing something at the moment, again, I want to make sure that everyone here feels that they're getting the support and have a voice on how this is managed. This is a collaborative university LMS space. So just because we're doing something at the moment, or that's the approach currently, does not mean that we won't be continually, revising, improving, and becoming more effective. So great question. We'll just kind of see how the user experience goes moving forward. And when do I think we'll get access to the platform? If you're not able to log in, we are going sort of campus by campus, PT by PT. I've put more attention into those smaller sets of users being uploaded. We are trying to do things sort of alphabetically to keep that even more organized. I don't want to make anyone at the end of the alphabet feel left out, or feel like they're going to be sort of on that last round. We're trying to move as expeditiously as we can through that. I would think that within, especially for anyone teaching in PT 52, that access would definitely be set up next week at the absolute latest, if it's not already been set up for anyone teaching an English class on ground, or an online English course, an English program class, I should say, in PT 52. As we move forward, again, we're working with a lot of moving initiatives. Banner sort of being closed down as we move towards Anthology coming online and being configured. So we're trying to keep things as even as possible. And as Dr. Beans mentioned on our biannual, we've got the upcoming shift where we'll be going from the UAGM to the AGMU Active Directory. And so that adds another layer of complexity to this, because we don't want to have a situation where everyone feels comfortable that they're accessing with one password and one set of credentials, only to have things change 2 weeks later. We're really trying to find the right jump in point for everybody to make it as seamless as possible and take all that stress out of it. So if you're not able to access just yet, access is coming. Access is coming. Some of us have it, and we are moving right along. Yes, we are working to get everyone access to the platform before your courses go live, before that happens, wherever possible. That is going to be the case. We're not asking much of faculty in the way of publishing courses for these first PTs, likely through the rest of this year. So the jump in is not the deep end of the pool. We're trying to get everyone to jump in at the shallow end of the pool and wade all the way to the other end. So it's a very long process, a lengthy process. So going back to our sandbox, our space, that's what I'm using for these next few examples, because like I said, this can happen in a vacuum. This happens in my own space. I'm not impacting anywhere else in Canvas in the LMS as I do these next few functions. And there'll be a reason for that too. Okay, so let's start with announcements. Now, there is a piece in the faculty walk to class that goes over a step-by-step process on how to make post an announcement and what these different features are, but I'm happy to go through that live here as well. Announcements, obviously an important part of class. And as you can see, we've got some in here that I've used in previous training sessions. And that's why I use the Sandbox course in these overviews, because again, this is my space. This is me. So, posting an announcement. You've clicked on the announcement link in your course. All you need to do now is click plus announcement. Once you've clicked plus announcement, this is just what Canvas calls the rich content editor. Any of us who have used a WordPress or a Wix web page, or anyone who's used any kind of digital writing document, be it TextEdit, OneNote, or Word, will be fairly familiar with this. So the learning curve is very, very shallow. You give your topic a title. So, not Demon, demo. And then here, this is the body of the announcement. So this is where you would put your content. So there we go. Let's just do hello class. Okay, so I can edit it however I'd like. I can insert different areas if I wanted to. You've got this option here to follow these prompts at the top, or to follow the same prompts in the icons here. I know some of these icons are, what the heck is that? What is this? So it's sometimes easier to follow just the standard, Word document style formatting in navigation, but here you can do the exact same thing. So inserting a link, which you can also see is happening here as well. You've got an image, again, that's here as well. Media, it's right here. It's all in the quick bar as well. Document, everything else. For those of us who teach math courses or any course that requires an equation, you could put an equation in there. You could do a table. Just drag and hit enter, drag and click. So if I wanted it to just be a, 4x4, 4x2, whatever size, 10x10 table I want, I can embed that in there. If you're trying to put in a YouTube video, let's say you found a topic and it connects to the weekly discussion, you go, oh, this TED Talk is perfect. You can just put the embed code right in there and grab that from your YouTube video, pop it in, put it into the announcement, and it would sit right there. So again, you've got the ability to just type, format your text however you like, put in a link. And this is where I was referring to course images versus user images. So this is where the designation is. You've got the option to upload an image. That just brings up the dialog box to choose something from your computer, choose something from inside of Canvas. So let's see. That's right. Stock images inside of Canvas, or URL if you have that accessible. If there's a certain picture or image that you want to use, that's a URL, you can put that in. You also have, sorry, the chat's in the way here, so I use that. Course images. Now these are files that exist here in the course. As you can see, there's a files menu on the in-course navigation menu, just like there was under our account for our user files. So we have course files and user files. So if I put something, if I uploaded it to the course, because the best example I can think of is a an accounting course, a federal taxation course. Well, federal tax laws change every year. So if I wanted to put in a table showing tax codes for 2022, I would want to just put that in the course, because I know that the next time I go to teach that course, everything's going to be different. And so I wouldn't want to put it in my user files, because then I run the risk of putting a 2022 tax document or table into a 2023 course, and that can be disastrous. So sometimes files are course specific and only to that iteration of that course. If it's a current events course, well, that's not something that you need to tag into your user files, because current events change. But it could be timely that you want to put something into your course right then. Course images brings up all of the images that have been uploaded to this course. And as you can see, there are not many in this this sandbox course. A couple logos and my screenshot homepage. However, didn't hit the drop down there. There we go. However, user images, as you can see, I can go to my user images. I can look for all media, and then I can scroll through my files, anything else that I've put in there, course files that I've got in this course, and pull from my user account if I put files in there. So you can pull from different areas. It's also just a storage option to pull things in. So you can put images in there if you had files, if it was a course document. So again, something specific to the course, or if it was a user document, like a PowerPoint that you put out to every student. Maybe you teach this course every single time and the PowerPoint does not change. That's something to put in here, but you can just put that in under user documents. So we've got a PowerPoint template here. I can just go ahead and put that in. If I wanted to, I could hyperlink it. I could say box PowerPoint. I'd simply highlight that. I'd insert the course document, and there we go. Now, students would have the ability to click that link, and it can bring up the Sandbox PowerPoint as a download. Or if I wanted to, they could preview it in line and expand that by default. So that when they go to this announcement, when we hit save, it would automatically open up this PowerPoint right here. So hello class, and there we go. There's my, this is this is the PowerPoint, the approved PowerPoint template. That's what I'm using for this example. But in here, they have the option, they can download it, they can see that it's a Sandbox PowerPoint, and they can click right through it right here in the announcement without having to do anything. If they don't want to download it, that's fine. They don't have to, we can see it right here. So again, all I did to do that was just click on link options. Once I uploaded the file, link options, previewed it in line, and expanded it by default. And that's it. Once I've gotten this to look just the way I want it to look, with the right content that I want to put in there, I can choose to post it to all sections. I can choose to post it if your course, if you've created groups inside of your course. Let's say you have a capstone course and students are working on a collaborative project, and you tasked these 3 students with, the marketing for a business proposal, and you wanted to send something relevant. Well, you could choose just that section or just that group of students to post an announcement to. It's a fine thing. Or you can send it to everybody as an announcement. You can also, if you didn't feel like you wanted to link the document in here or put the document in the body of the announcement, that's fine. You can always just attach a file. In this case, I'm just going to attach this fancy Zoom background I have. And then I can delay posting if I'd like and choose a time to post. So a day and time. So let's say I want to post it today at 1:00 p.m. Okay, at 1:00, this will delay, this will go. I don't want to do that, so I'm gonna do that. And you have the option to allow liking Personally, I don't click that. Students don't have the option to dislike, so I guess that's positive. But if you have a fragile ego that's that can't handle when no one likes a post, maybe just leave that unchecked. And then once I've gotten that set up just the way I want to, I've got any attachments, I'm putting it to the right, posting it to the right section. I've got all the content that I want, got the title. All I have to do is hit save. And now that announcement goes out to everyone in the class. I can see it. I can see what time it went out. I can see who sent it, where I sent it. Since there were really no students aside from a dummy account that I put in here, there is no way to see the notifications. It just sort of happens in this sandbox vacuum, but that's why I do that in here, because if I made any mistakes, I want to make sure that I can test this out before I make the actual announcement to my students. That's fine. We've tested this. I know how it works. I know I can do it. I know it looks the way I want it to look. So now I don't feel like I'm, on that tight wire of posting an announcement to students and having it not look the way I want it to look. Go back to the home here on the sandbox course, and there we go. Okay, so we've gone over files for in-class versus user files. Again, the in-class files are here in the in-class navigation menu. The personal ones are here under our profile. They're all able to be accessible when you're in a course and putting content in, so it doesn't matter where you upload things necessarily, but just think about the organization. Okay. To talk for a minute about the connected apps. Google Drive, Office 365 are approved connections. Right now, Google Drive, obviously, as we're not using Google Drive as a university, Google Drive would connect to your personal Gmail. So students, if they connected this in their class, could pull, let's say they save an assignment in their Google Drive and they want to, forget their flash drive or not have to carry around the actual paper. They just want to grab from their Google Drive. They can do that. You can do the same thing. Obviously, as you can see, these are all documents that are in my Google Drive. And technically the same thing's true for Office 365. At the moment, it just corresponds to our OneDrive folder. So again, if you use OneDrive, that's fantastic. I could click through and I could pull all of the wonderful folder, the wonderful PDF flyer that you all saw for today's today's presentation. I could pull that into a course. I could open it right up here. There we go. Because that's connected, that'll open that right up. So we know we're here 9 to 11. So that corresponds to your OneDrive access, which we all have OneDrive through the university, through our university email. So again, more file storage. So that sort of helps us to avoid the problem that we have for the limited stock storage in Canvas of 500 megabytes when you realize that in your OneDrive, you've got, significantly more storage. Typically I think it's one terabyte per person. If not, maybe just a little bit less, a little bit more that you could put in. So big files, so recordings. I've got all of my Microsoft Stream recordings are right here that I can pull it. So if I did a meeting in Teams, I could put that right into a course. What I'm working on moving forward when we make the change to have an agmu.edu email address rather than a UAGM one is to connect the full Office 365 suite so that you're able to run Teams meetings through Canvas. You're able to run PowerPoint right through here, not just OneDrive. So that is coming. That is on its way. But right now, think of this as additional in the LMS storage that you can pull from, that you can leverage rather than just putting things into course files or user files. If you run out of space, plenty of it right here in OneDrive for you. Okay. One of the other big areas that I've gotten a lot of requests from when doing these sessions for administration, for other instructors, is to talk about Big Blue Button, which is the current tool for collaborations, for class meetings, for live calls, live webinars, live presentations. This would be essentially Blackboard Collaborate. And there are a few key features here, a few key differences. And that is a great question, Nancy. We are switching from Blackboard predominantly because what Canvas can do is setting us up for a bit more success than Blackboard. Blackboard's starting to become a little bit more limited in its features, and it's not growing as a learning management system as quickly as Canvas is. And so we wanted to make use of these features. Students are getting the same trainings. They have the same walk to class on their side, and they're going through these trainings as well. They're being added at the same rate that instructors are, and it breaks things down for them the same way it breaks things down for faculty. So the nice thing is that we're all learning. Even though, like I said, I've been doing Canvas operations for a very long time, it's an interesting enough system that I learn something new every day. Every day I find something that I go, oh, I did not know how to do that before. Great, neat. Or, oh, hey, look at that. I click this and I can connect that. That's fantastic. And we will go over in just a moment where we can expand that horizon. Thank you everyone for backing up Canvas. The course change for everyone by August, by fall semester, everyone will be in Canvas. And like I said, it's sort of a rolling situation right now where we're trying to bring things in smaller chunks. We're trying to make it so that you're not teaching in both Blackboard and Canvas. Our students aren't attending in both Blackboard and both Canvas. There may be smaller instances like that. We're trying to reduce them as much as possible, but we wanted to make as clean a transfer as we could. And fall semester seemed like one of the best ways to do that, to say, as of fall, we're doing all of these trainings from, the start of the year, from January on. So we'll have, 7-8 months of training, of access, of experience, of comfort before, we really make that full jump and don't have that safety net of being able to go back to Blackboard. But that is those are great points too. They are they're much more intuitive and again, much more flexible. You can click a number of places and get to the same content. There's not the I've clicked here and now everything's broken, or I've clicked here and now I'm stuck somewhere where I don't know where I am. All right. So Big Blue Button is taking over for Canvas Collaborate. As I mentioned, I am hopeful and working to either integrate Teams, which everyone's more familiar with, or Zoom as a best case into the classes so that we can start using that for our meetings, for our collaborations. But for right now, Big Blue Button is the built-in option. And so let's go through how to use that. So when you click the Big Blue Button link here, and again, don't be alarmed if when you log into your class, you see this no content not visible to students button next to Big Blue Button, because there's no content. You've not created a conference. You've not created a collaboration yet. So students wouldn't be able to see it until you do that. But you as an instructor have access to do that. So let's hop there. Clicking Big Blue Button in the course navigation menu, you can see that we have the ability to add a conference. Once we've added a conference and scheduled it, it'll show up here under New Conference. And then Concluded Conference. So anything that we've done that's concluded, any recordings that we have are going to show up right here in the Big Blue Button link for both faculty and for students. For anyone who has access to this to your course, when you do these, they stay here. They are only deleted out if you, as the instructor, delete them. They are not removed. So how do we create one? I will say the one immediate difference that you'll notice is that with Blackboard Collaborate, like any other meeting software, like Teams, like Zoom, you were able to set up a meeting ahead of time. So, hey, we're going to meet, Tuesday at 5 o'clock, and send out that link and send out that reminder. It's a little bit different how we're going to do that here. When we create a conference, let's give it a name. Let's say Tuesday office hours. The only type is a big blue button. Like I said, when we have different options, they will show up here. You can choose a duration if, let's say, you only have your Tuesday office hours are only 1 hour. Well, then you can constrain it so that the session, everyone knows what the parameters of the session are. They know they only have an hour. Or you can enable no time limit. This is if you were having a much bigger, broader discussion, or if you were doing a conference or a presentation for an entire class, 2 or 3 hours, you just click no time limit. And there, as you can see, now we don't have to put in a number of minutes. I encourage people to always click the enable recording. Just if you don't record it, that's fine. If it's just a quick meeting with students, in a remote capacity, that's okay. But you never know what you might go over in a quick meeting that all of a sudden you wanted other students in the class who maybe weren't present to reference. So I typically encourage faculty members to click that enable recording for this conference. Now, in Blackboard Collaborate, we would send out, the reminder, and it would say, just like any other meeting, an iCloud, Outlook meeting, Zoom meeting, Teams, whatever it is, it would say the date, the time, the all of that stuff. In here, for now, that's where we would put that. We would put hello class. But anything else, let's say bring. There we go. So something very quick. For just a one-on-one student, yes, if you're doing that, then you would just not invite all course members. You would pick specific course members, or send that link to just that one-on-one student. But that's why right now I think Big Blue Button works for full class meetings. I'd rather see us use something different moving forward. That's one of the positives of Canvas as well. If they can't recreate the wheel to make something better than what exists out in the world, they make it very easy for us to connect features like Zoom or Teams to our environment. So right now, we're going over sort of a bigger class meeting, the one-on-one student meeting. We could set up a conference. We would just send that notification, that link, that to that one student. And once we've set up all these options, you just click update. As you can see, Tuesday office hours right there. Hello, class. Now, the class would see this, and the class would also get the notification that new content has been posted in your Big Blue Button for this course. They would go there, they would go here and say, oh, hey, look at that. Let's meet Tuesday at 5 p.m. Excellent. Students would see that. As an instructor, I have the ability to start it. I have the ability to edit it. So let's say now we're Tuesday at 5 p.m. Let's go ahead and we'll start. Oh, there we go. Mouse does not want to click today. Okay, just gonna do listen. There we go. I just want to listen only right now. I don't want any feedback loops happening or anything like that. So this is Big Blue Button. Everything right here is on our front page. We've got the discussion, the chat. So if we wanted to chat inside of here, the same way we're chatting here in Zoom, you can do that. You can see the full list of users right now. As it said, I'm the only person in here because I'm the only person in this course. There are shared notes. So if you were doing a discussion and you wanted to do shared notes, you type right along and share notes with everyone. That would be accessible in this recording to view. Think of it, as that sort of running dialogue if you don't want to just run it through the chat, which you absolutely could. Here on the right-hand side, the main screen, we have the ability to start recording. So when we get in, we just go ahead and we click start recording. It's going to tell me that I have no active microphone because I'm in listen only mode, but it is telling me that the session is being recorded. Here, I have the ability to send public and private messages through chat, to have everyone turn on their webcam, and you can see that down at the bottom here. Chat's in the way. I'm just gonna move that out of the way, or the transcription, I should say. You have the ability to share my webcam or share my screen right here. I can also start a poll, share an external video, or select, if I wanted to call on a student in here, if I wanted to say, okay, your turn to present, you can select a random user. You can raise your hand if you're a participant as well. You could raise your hand. You got your webcam, audio controls. You can assign breakout rooms if you wanted to say, okay, we're going to break into smaller groups and talk about these topics. Breakout rooms right there. Again, polling, emojis, we can express ourselves, share our screen, or use the whiteboard. The multifunction whiteboard, if we were doing math equations, let's say, or if we were just collaborating in a space, we could draw together on a whiteboard the same way we could a chalkboard or dry erase board in the front of the class. So we've finished our meeting. Let's say we're done. Everyone's come here. Everyone's had a great time. We've chatted. We've done our polls. We've done our presentations. We've gone through everything. I'm gonna pause the recording. Okay. And simply jump out of the meeting. I don't have to end it necessarily because the meeting is done. It would run its time. I can leave, I can end. I can jump through. So right now, I'm just gonna end. Okay. Not gonna give it any feedback because I didn't really record anything. Now, much like Teams does, as we leave our recorded session, it processes the recording. Tried to keep it kind of small, so it might do that in this live session with our last few minutes here. There we go. And then ended the session as the instructor, and there we go, it's concluded. Now the recording, I will get a notification when the recording has finished, when it's been put into the concluded conferences, and then anyone who is invited to the conference, in this case, all course members, would get the same notification. Hey, your Tuesday office hours meeting recording is ready. They'd be able to click the big blue button link here and see it, see the recording. We got one recording right there, and be able to play the recording. If we wanted to, as an instructor, we could delete that recording. If it was a session that maybe no one attended, or a session that didn't really have content that people need to refer back to, we could delete it. Otherwise, right here, and there we go. We've got the playback of the presentation. Now we go right through. All I had to do was click on the link. Click out of that. Click on the presentation link once I clicked on the concluded conference, because the recording is right there. So it tells you when it was recorded, title of the meeting, and how long it went. So that is the quick walkthrough of Big Blue Button. There we go. Go ahead home. Then I'll go to one more section of the faculty walk to class, and then we'll take a look. If we can, if courses wants to. Hey, there we go. Okay, good. That wasn't functioning earlier. Now I can give a bigger look at the all courses section of the global navigation menu. I wanted to earlier, but for some reason it just wasn't pulling the data correctly. Okay. So as you can see, when I click courses here, and I'll go back to my dashboard to make this a little easier to see. I can see my published courses. So I've got the 2 courses that show up under published courses. Oh, that's good. That's right there. My unpublished courses, which is my sandbox. And then if I completed any courses, which let's say, again, PTs, as they move on, we complete courses. I would simply go to all courses. And here is the full list of courses that I have access to either as a student or as an instructor. I've got some past enrollments. I've got some current enrollments. And the big thing here is these stars. That's how we get things onto our dashboard if we've taken them off our dashboard. Any course that you're assigned to automatically gets the star turned on to be put on your dashboard, any active course, which is awesome. You don't have to worry about where's my course, what's going on, go in the courses menu, scroll down into all these PTs that I've done and find the right one. Automatically it's put on your dashboard. Now, with courses like the Faculty Resource Center, which is upcoming, I had that because I want to show just a little bit of that in our last few minutes here. And the Faculty Walk to Class, as I mentioned, these are training courses and information centers that you have access to in perpetuity. You do not need to keep them on your dashboard once you've either A, concluded the course, or if you just don't want to, if you feel that clutters your dashboard, you can toggle them off. Turn the star off. You still have access to them by going to courses, all courses, but you can turn the star off to take them off your dashboard. I wanted to keep access to the Walk to Class and especially the Resource Center. That'll become a bigger thing as we move forward and everyone is in Canvas, but especially the Walk to Class, I wanted to keep access to that because this isn't just a course that is aimed at teaching you how to do AGMU specific Canvas operations. As I mentioned at the start, we've encountered Canvas in a number of places, whether it be through student, our children, their remote learning or other institutions. I wanted to give you the skills to see how to use Canvas, not just how to use Canvas here. That doesn't build any equity, that doesn't build any professional development, that doesn't prompt any cool ideas that you have about, oh, wait, I can do this in my course, or oh, I can put this in my course. I didn't want to keep it myopic. I didn't want to keep it centered, focused on just what we do here. As we go through each area, and I'll just pop into the virtual classroom, for example. We did the file space, we did the customizing that, we did the rich content editor. We'll go right into the rich content editor. And don't worry too much about that. I just clicked around to find an exemplar page rather than sitting for a minute and considering which page to pull. When you're in the Walk to Class course, there's an overview of how to use the rich content editor. A couple of screenshots, a couple of walkthroughs, but then I've also linked to PDF guides from the Canvas community and any instructor, the company that owns Canvas or administers Canvas, would say, any instructor created videos. And the reason for that is because I didn't want to fully reinvent the wheel. I want to show you what you can do in here and then broaden up your horizons to show you what is capable inside of the system. So you have the ability to kind of think, oh, I can do that. I don't want you to take your skills elsewhere. I'd love for you to keep them here at AGMU, but I wanted you to get a benefit out of the course training as well. So quite a few options here, and Canvas has a very robust community for guides. Open that up. Searchable community. They are phenomenal. Same thing with their videos. They have over 550 from student view to instructor view to admin view, everything is right here. And they do a great job. So it's additional training outside of just, here's how you do this here for your courses. Here's how you use this overall. So I wanted to build that for you. Right. Recording of this session, as I see that in the chat, and I know we're getting close to the end of time here, and I want to take a few minutes and do questions for anyone who would like to stay a little after 11. That's absolutely fine. We can do 10 or 15 minutes of questions, or we can wrap up. That's entirely to the collected attendees. But the recording here will be sent out at the start of the week. I host them on our internal AGMU training YouTube account. As you've probably seen with other workshops and webinars, they are hosted on, predominantly a Google Form platform right now, because we've not yet launched. It's a perfect segue. Fell right into that one. We are going to be hosting them as soon as everyone is in Canvas and we're all operating in there. All of these will be hosted here in Canvas so that you will be able to access any trainings. I know, Director Lynette Caballero, who I'm sure we are all very familiar with. She is a indisposable figure here at the institution. Does a lot with curating content for webinars. We've had some incredible presentations, be it from Regressions. Professor Torres did an amazing job. We've also had human trafficking. Professor Tenias has done that both in Espanol and English. Anytime we do anything like that, be it thought leadership webinars, or if we do actual trainings like this or walkthroughs like this, will be hosted as we get into the Virtual Teachers Lounge. Right now, the network exists that my team sends out the link either through a Google form or just through the YouTube link, through the academic directors who send it out to the faculty at each of their campuses. And I cannot thank them enough. Our phenomenal academic directors in every campus. They are amazing. We at main campus could not do this without them, absolutely. So sending those links out moving forward, when we're all in Canvas, we're all comfortable with Canvas, all you'll see is a notification from the Faculty Resource Center that a new recording has been posted. Hey, Bill's live Canvas session has been posted into our professional development or our webinar recording section of the Faculty Resource Center. This right here is a very, very quick overview, is our Virtual Teachers Lounge. It is exactly what we will have access to start sharing ideas across the university. So I'm very excited about this coming out. I just wanted to give a quick sneak peek. There's not a lot of content here, so I don't want to click around and find any embarrassing unpublished pages, but you'll see this, and we are very excited about being able to leverage everything that we have in this network as university system. Whatever modality you teach in, whatever campus you teach in, we want to be able to share ideas and make our collective university better. And there's really no way to do that without our faculty, without all of you, each and every one of you. So let me scan the chat here, and then we can do a few quick questions and answers. Anyone who needs to jump off 11, please feel free to. I'll keep the recording going. And we can you can always refer back to the last few minutes in case you miss any questions. I'll also send out the transcript as well and the chat recording. So feel free to unmute or put anything in the chat. Go right ahead.
Bejaida Lozano from South Florida campus. I know that we have the link that we use the email and also the password for the Blackboard. But what is the link to get to the Canvas for registration? Because I tried to get in there and I couldn't.
Sure. So your university email and your password would be your username and your password. It would be agmu.instructure.com. Here, I'll bring that back up. Let me bring up this.
Yeah, please.
Here again. Now it may not. Here we go. There we go. AGMU. Yep.
Oh,
and this will be
okay.
This will be linked out as well. I know that request has been put up in the chat. So yes, it will be linked out when we send the recording link for this video. That will be linked in there as well.
Perfect.
So
Thank you very much.
for those of you who are trying to scribble it down very
So
quickly.
we link in there and we use our own email and our password as a Blackboard, and that's it.
Right, and if
Perfect.
that does not allow you access, again, that's not a pain point. That just means that the rollout phase hasn't hit your user account just yet, and we are working
Perfect.
towards it.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Everyone
Okay,
exists in here, but they just, we're sort of, the accounts have been created. We just have to bring them online and activate them, and we're doing that in sort of a phased approach, and we're working.
Okay, perfect.
Small
Okay,
team, but
I
as
have
fast
to
as we
wait for
can.
that. Okay, thank you.
Of course, great question. Great question. All right, we are at 11 o'clock. So again, please don't feel obligated to stick around. Go enjoy your weekends. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I can email those instructions. Absolutely. Anything you want to put in the chat. If you don't want to unmute, that's totally fine. I'll stick around for a few more minutes just to catch anything else. Thank you all
Bill.
again for attending. Yes.
Bill Landis again from South Florida.
Yes, sir.
What credentials from the institution do we need to be offered English courses in terms of having complied with certain Canvas training?
So that's a kind of a deeper conversation with the academic director for course assignment. As this is sort of, Canvas is going to be the only tool for everyone learning management system moving forward. So this is not necessarily mandatory. I shouldn't say it's mandatory just yet, but it is to help everyone feel comfortable. So this doesn't necessarily aid in getting courses assigned. However, if you want to feel like you're capable, and that is the last badge, Canvas capable of teaching different classes, regardless of whether they're in Blackboard right now or Canvas, going through this when you have access is a great tool to make sure that you can show your academic director or your school dean, hey, I'm comfortable and I'm ready in Canvas. I've gone through the training. So there's no specific incentive, no specific trade-off right now, because we are all just learning ahead of the full rollout in August. But completing anything in here certainly would help to make a case to be, to petition for more classes or for different classes and different modalities.
Thanks.
Absolutely. And Albert, you had your hand up. I'm sorry.
Yes, sorry, Bill.
No, it's okay.
So I'm working, and you may or may not be able to answer this question, so pardon me if you can't. So I'm working in the class within my sandbox, getting the class rate and all that good stuff. Now, is this still going to work like it did in Blackboard, where the school provides the content and obviously we can edit what we want to edit? Or can I, am I able to just go ahead and create my class that I want? Because I'm so familiarized with Canvas. And then because I noticed the course is already published, which I keep unpublishing it, and someone keeps publishing it for some reason, because obviously there's nothing in there, and the students shouldn't have access until the course starts. So, but I know obviously the school may have different policies, but we just haven't heard on it. So I guess it's like 5 questions in one. Sorry about that.
They were all related, and I got them. So we're good. Those were great ones, and actually I can answer the majority of them. So I promise everyone, Albert's not a plant. We didn't work this out before. So as far as the publishing the content, that is the production development team. And the reason they're publishing that is because that team is continuing to migrate content. If you can imagine the number of classes that they're working on, they're migrating English content, bilingual content, Spanish content into each class. And they are a very small team, four or 5 people, and they are moving as quick as they can. So they keep the courses published so that they can continue to put the content in, to load the content in, so that it is there for you as an instructor when your course goes live. Now, just because it's published does not necessarily mean that students are able to see it just yet, because students that data has to be pulled in and added. So what we're doing is moving towards the approach that instructors get access to courses, approximately 2 to 3 weeks, if not hopefully more, as we move forward, as more content is migrated, and especially once we get everything in, instructors have access 2 to 3 weeks before a PT start, before a class start, but students would only see them typically the Thursday prior to a session start. So even though the course is published, that's great. You're able to go in, you're able to do everything the course is published, that's fantastic. Students wouldn't see it appear on their dashboard until that Thursday prior to a PT start threshold. So it is kind of nice, even if it is published, that does not necessarily mean that students can see it until that timing that they get access. So don't worry about it being published. In your sandbox course, if you're pulling in that content and there are things that you want to pull over, because it's your sandbox in your course, you can import that content in. You can do that. As far as guidelines of what can and can't be edited, that is a bigger conversation. Dr. Carla Padalano, our Associate Vice Chancellor of Content and Delivery, is working with the school deans, working with faculty, working with academic directors to sort of establish that policy on what can and cannot be changed, what elements can be adjusted. So that is something that is a sort of a separate conversation as we move through. But right now, you're able to put that content in that you are working on in Blackboard and move it into your Canvas course. So a lot of good questions.
Perfect.
Charlie, go right ahead.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Professor Lynch, I have a question. Vilma Petrash, South Florida campus. For the professors that may have assigned courses to start teaching with Canvas, let's say, I think I am one of them. I am in the process of accepting the course, but I don't know if we have enough time training. Because we as professors don't like to feel insecure with the platform in front of our students, you know what I mean? So I don't know if, why the decision to make it so fast since we don't have that much time for the training. I really need to see this, actually this conference that you gave us, like maybe 2 or more times in order to feel comfortable. Because I have used Canvas, but I didn't use it as a professor. I use it as a student in my doctoral program. So I don't know if I will be ready for that. I have to be honest with you. It's a little bit stressful, you know. And besides, because our courses, we don't have that much time between one PT and the other. So maybe that's a sort of problem we may be confronting. I don't think I am the only one feeling that. So I am just telling you. What can we do about it, and how can we make sure that we will be ready for teaching, and also that we don't feel insecure in front of our students in teaching with the new platform? You know what I mean?
Absolutely, absolutely. And the quicker answer to that is what is being asked of an instructor to do. So content is already published, content is already uploaded there, so there's not, additional steps that would need to be taken. Everything that's coming over from the Blackboard course would be there. So there's that confidence there that the content is in the course. As you go through the functions that you're doing here, if you're teaching in front of a class, it's a little bit different than teaching in an online class. Online instructors have only known this. So online English have only known this. I'm very concerned too, as we move forward, about the online Spanish population. They're getting additional training because they only operate inside. So there's a lot more that they need to do here. For in-person, it's more about how do I access my content? Where is that? Which is just, having experience in Canvas as a student, you'll know it's the modules, it's the course links, everything's in there. Where do I access that? How do students access that? And then it's on us to provide the additional support through either the technical team, the learning resources centers, and my team with training to give you that confidence and to keep those things going. And that's why for the faculty walk to class was something that wasn't going to be, taken away. It wasn't that once you finish the class, it goes away. It's still there. So it's not a situation of needing to know absolutely everything on day one, because the functionality grows. So day one, the only things you need to know How do I click into my class? How do my students click into my class? And then growing from there. So we're trying to phase this out and trying to work with this as much as we can. It's not an enviable position, but we're trying to get as many of these sessions booked and on the calendar to record them, to put them out there as we can. So please continue to communicate, what you need through either your
I have another
director.
question. I have another question. You said that we are going to be granted access soon, but precisely for the professors that may be teaching with in English, in Canvas, how can we know? I mean, I like to have access right now, actually, to start, looking at the system and see how can I handle that. You know what I mean? So when can we get that granted for sure? When can we have?
I can't speak to specifics. Unfortunately, I am not the system administrator for that. I can speak to the fact that we are continually uploading and activating accounts. So I can't speak to an actual specific. I unfortunately don't have the answer to say that it's a specific date. However, it is linked to those course assignments in Banner and Argos to know who is priority, who is teaching next, who is going forward. So that's what we've been using to activate that kind of approach. And so if we're teaching, we don't have that access yet, that is definitely a concern. If you've not been notified of that access, because whenever you've been invited to a course or added to a course or activated in the system, there is a notification sent to the university email. So if you've not received that, then that's definitely a separate conversation. I would please reach out. I know some instructors reached out to me this week, and we are still working on that to make sure that everyone's been put in. But please do, if you don't have access, let me know so that we can make sure that either we can give you a better understanding of what timing as I work with the development team, or we can address any issues if you've already been granted access but aren't cognizant of that.
Thank you very much.
Of course. All right, so we got some other hands here. I believe Charlie's had his up for a while.
Thank you. Can you hear me, Bill?
I absolutely can, sir.
Okay. I'm going to piggyback on Dr. Vilma's concern, and yes, we have to learn this as quickly as possible. And we're going to appreciate you sending out this presentation next week or whenever, and we're going to go through it. However, I'm concerned that if we have an opportunity to have a second session, because as you can see, the population, the attendees for today was not all of the faculty of all the campuses. So you may have to I would say do another session in the near future. So you may have to, and I'm sorry to say this, you may have to do another second session, and that way maybe then have more water for you to drink at that time. And
Absolutely.
And maybe then we can have a second access to this and go through it again, or have a second person go presenting it. That's one concern. And the second concern that I have is I am a professor of students going into this. You told us during the session that students will be going through their own sessions through student trainings. Now, I'm the type of person, and I've been here, I'm going on 15, 16 years already in the system in Orlando. And the thing is, I've always been interactive with my students. And one of the things I'm concerned about is I want my students to be successful. And one of the things I'm concerned about is them learning the system. If I want them to be successful 100%, I want them to understand the system. And for me to be able to help them, I was wondering, will we have the opportunity to attend any of the student sessions? Okay, so that way we understand their point of view and from their aspects. we're not going to be involved in asking questions in Q&A, but to see how they see their platform. So that way we can tell, okay, this is what the student sees, and this is what the students will be looking at when the professor sets up the class. And that way, when I set up my class, okay, I know what Joey is seeing in the classroom. And that's one of my main concerns right now, because we got to push for August, and that's not far away. That's not far away.
No. In the grand scheme of things, it definitely isn't. Those were excellent questions, Charlie. Thank you so much for bringing those up. Additional sessions, yes, absolutely. So this one, and I know there were a number of instructors that were reaching out saying, you know, hey, I have class this time. Absolutely, we understand that. We've had some success with webinar attendance in this general time frame. Saturday mornings, 9 to noon, 9 to 11. That does not mean that this is the only session. That doesn't mean that this is the only day where we're going to have these. Weekday sessions, recordings, all of that. This is only the first session. This was sort of the kickoff to, okay, let's see the system a little bit more in depth. I know we did sort of a sneak peek a long time ago when it was here, but it wasn't as in depth or as robust as we could make it. So there will be additional sessions, absolutely. That does not mean that you've attended this one that you can't come to any others. If you want to hear me talk and see me drink out of this wonderful water bottle, of course I'm not going to show up now. Anytime, please attend as many as you'd like to. So don't think that you can't view sessions, attend sessions. The invites will go out, and it's sort of everyone can choose their own level of participation. If you want to do more than one session, that's fine. If you are someone who just needs to sort of see things, understand it, and then hop into the walk to class, that's fine. We've got that set up for you as well. Great question there. As far as the student walk to class, take just a moment before we get to other questions to do a very quick overview. It is set up in almost an identical way to the faculty walk to class. So the experience level, definitely for instructors, you're going to get essentially the same training. The only areas where the trainings differ is that instructors have an additional module that shows certain things like how to post an announcement, how to export grades to Banner, things like that, things that are instructor specific. The trainings themselves are almost identical in what you see through modules 1 through 5 in the walk to class and what students see. They have the same setup, they have a different set of badges, much more colorful, but it's the same thing. I absolutely love the idea of instructors attending student sessions. That's absolutely a great approach. No problem there. Those will be posted and sent out. That's more on the retention team of who's sending those out. But if we make those available, then I see no problem with anyone attending those sessions, even if it is, as you said, just an observation only, just to watch these sessions and go, oh, okay, that is exactly what I do. That's what they're seeing. It's the same thing. If that brings another level of confidence and comfort, by all means, excellent suggestion.
Thank you, Bill, and you have a great weekend
Absolutely.
and great presentation. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you for attending. All right, Fernando, I believe you're next on the question train.
Yes, hi, Bill. Where do we send you the information to get the sandbox in my Canvas?
Absolutely. I'm going to put this will also be in the email of this training and the links and everything. So I will put that into the chat right now. There we go. So any sandbox requests, please send them to wlynch@uagm.edu. Just provide me with your name, the campus, and your ID number, that S number, and we can get that set up.
Thank you. And it's in that sandbox where we're gonna do all the assignments for walk to class. Like there's one that requires discussion to be created. We can do it there and it'll be accessible to everybody who's taking the walk to class
Right, you'd be able to do that in there, and that is what you would submit as your, proof for the assignment or to complete that off, because you'd be able to create in that sandbox course.
Okay, and it would be interactive because I wasn't sure if the other faculty was going to be able to participate in the conversation, or it's just kind of a setup for a show.
It's a setup. It would be a setup to show that you can set those things up. We can definitely do more interactive conversations. That would happen more in this faculty resource center.
Okay.
So that would be more. But for right now, just to learn the platform, the walk to class is really just aimed at more gaining the knowledge before we kind of expand on that and have more of those conversations. But interactive conversations are definitely a thing. I want to do a lot of idea sharing between all these wonderful faculty members, and so the Faculty Resource Center, very excited for that to be the case.
Yeah, I also tried to put my phone number in my settings, and everything everybody was going, and then they were gonna send me a code on my phone, and the box was there for the code, but I never got the code on the text, so I don't know.
Yeah, I unfortunately have that feeling that they are phasing out any new SMS requests. It's not an official word from Canvas. I haven't seen anything official just yet, but I would go with more of the iOS app for any notifications or anything like that. Simply because, like I said, the SMS network, I don't think they're going to keep it up. So it's still an option, but same situation. I've tried it a few times here. Tried to put my phone number in for the SMS and haven't gotten the code. So that tells me that they're sort of putting that out to pasture without actually being able to do it just yet.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Excellent. Sergio, sir, go right ahead. Oh, you're on mute. You're still muted, sir. Let's see if I can unmute you. I can't make. Oh. Sergio,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
That's okay. There you are.
Yeah, I say thank you for information. I'm totally lost. Vilma knows more about me. This is the first time that I hear this. I'm petrified because I like the changes, but will be good system once I learn. And there's any way that you can send me more information that I can train myself and play with it before I get into it, because I don't want to get by surprise and get a course and I don't know anything about it, especially when the students ask me, hey, professor, how can I send this? I said, if I don't know, I cannot tell you.
Absolutely. So anytime that you're assigned to a course that is going to be in Canvas, academic directors we're asking them to be incredibly explicit about that. If it's not going to be held in Blackboard, if you are going to be teaching in Canvas, and to make sure that it's not coming from someone who hasn't had access yet to the system or been exposed to some of these training sessions. I can't guarantee that that's going to happen 100%. Obviously, sometimes those things do fall through the proverbial cracks. However, in the send out here, I'll include the Canvas guides and the Canvas Instructure video library network with all of those aspects. So as you're going through the walk to class, you'll still have the ability to, explore, and I'll open these up again so we can see what they are. Explore any topic. So if you went through what I did for announcement, you said, that was great, but I really want to know, how do I post an announcement? Well, I'm just going to search posting an announcement. How do I delay posting? All of these things, post announcement, all of that exists in the Instructure community and is linked to from the walk to class, and is also part of our support network, so that we all have the access to kind of expand our knowledge base outside of what's just in the walk to class or in these presentations, because obviously time is a finite thing, and so we only have a little bit of time to get through showing the system and accessing the system. But in going through the walk to class, in looking through the guides, in watching the short, typically they're only 5 minutes or less tutorial videos, of different aspects, all still linked back to this walk to class. That's how we're building that knowledge. And it's the same thing for students, the same set of resources. So we're all looking at things from the same vantage point. So when students are looking for something, the process is, you know, ostensibly the same for them that it would be for you. You may have more options as an instructor as to what you can do, but the general process for certain things is universal. So
Okay.
a lot of training, a lot of sessions coming up, and a lot of information to go out there, but we're trying to, you know, ease into it. And I know that, you know, 6 months doesn't sound like a lot of time, but as intuitive and as friendly as Canvas is, I think we'll find that the learning curve, especially if we've been working in Blackboard, a lot of the elements are the same. The learning curve is fairly shallow.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate your help.
Of course. Thank you. All right. And thank you very much, Rafael. I'm just seeing that in the chat. That is the next step, especially for our Metro Orlando. Rafael Del Rio is a fantastic resource for Canvas assistance, for help, and that will be sort of the process as we move forward. Those learning resource centers will be where we can go as instructors or as students to get any assistance if we run into those issues. Outside of, you know, the walk to class, things like that. But again, we're not losing access to those. So we'll still have this training right at our fingertips, you know, and especially these sessions as they're recorded and put into Canvas too. We always have access to it. And there's, you know, as much as we want our students to be successful, our students can only be successful if our faculty are successful. Fernando, did you have another question?
No, I'm good, Bill. Thank you.
Okay, all right, sorry, I saw that hand up, I just didn't want to miss you.
Thank you.
Of course. All right. I'm happy to stay on again. The presentation, overall, this is just sort of an expanded Q&A. Thank you for everyone who's stuck around after 11 o'clock. I understand, you know, I wanted to respect everyone's time, so I'm here to answer questions. I'm free. But if you have to move on to something else for the day, please enjoy your weekend. Thank you for attending. And this recording will be sent out with the appropriate corresponding links and other information when as soon as the recording's rendered, as soon as it's finished up. So usually it's later in the day that I'm able to do that and put all those bells and whistles together and send those out. And then your academic directors will send those back out again. All right, fantastic. Let's stop sharing the screen here. Looks like we've only got about 20 or so people, but please, again, anyone who has a question, feel free to shout it out. If not, then we will we'll adjourn at 11:30. All right. We're out of questions. Again, if there's something that you think of, and it always happens to me, and I think of something hours later, days later, my email is in the chat. You'll see this come out from me. Please don't think that you can't come directly to me with any questions. I'm happy to help however I can, and we'll just continue to learn and to grow together and to elevate AGMU, borrowing on all the hard work that everyone here, every faculty member has done. So appreciate you all. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much for attending. And I'm sure we'll see a lot of each other over the coming months. Thank you very much.